Welcome, everyone, to Moxie Bets, presented by Caesars Sportsbook. I'm Katie Mox, your host. Coming up on today's show, tax season is upon us, which means your winnings are taxable income. We'll talk about what you need to do to file your winnings and your losses. We'll also take a look at tonight's NBA slate and college conference tournaments. And as always, you got some Mox Locks coming your way. Before we get started, we will, of course, welcome in Mr. Monday, Danny Brasco, coming off a monster UFC weekend. Bravo, sir.
Thank you. Honestly, it feels like every Monday I've been joining her. I've been like, another great weekend in the UFC. So good month. I'm really happy and high spirits. And let's tackle some NBA and some college today.
Let's do it. We need some of that energy, that plus 750 energy that you had to sprinkle on into today. So let's get right into it. It's not a fun subject to talk about, but it is certainly something worth a listen. Mock's thought for the day is tax season is upon us, people. The sports betting industry has exploded with more and more states legalizing gambling, which means that Uncle Sam is sending you a W-2/G form and expecting a cut of your winnings. If you have won 1,200 or more from bingo or slot games, probably not me, netted 1,500 or more from Keno, exceeded over 5,000 from a poker tournament, or obtained just $600 or more from other gambling endeavors, such as sports gambling. So those payouts being at least 300 times the amount that you bet. Now, if you weren't so lucky this year, which let's face it, a lot of us haven't been, you can actually deduct your losses, but that one might be a little bit tricky. You can deduct more than the amount of gaming revenue you took home, but you have to itemize your taxes. Otherwise, you can deduct the losses. However, if you don't itemize them, you can take the standard deduction, which knocks a set amount off your taxable income without having to do much on your taxes. So if you're a professional gambler, then there's a whole other approach to your taxes than just the casual bettor, which I'm sure if you're listening to us, you lean more on the casual betting side of things. Like each state has their own way of taxing your winnings. So please make sure that you look at it, that you're working with someone, and that you are filing your taxes appropriately. Now, Danny, I know that New York has just been legalized, and before that, it was a lot of offshore betting. So for a lot of us, this is our first time that we're going to be filing taxes or winnings or losses with taxes. Have you done this yet before, and any tips you can give bettors out there?
So last year, I was lucky enough to miss the sort of tax season date cutoff. Honestly, it kind of makes my head spin. I couldn't tell you exactly how all this works. So that's why I'm going to give you my advice, which it is. This year will be my first year getting Uncle Sam coming into my pockets and taxing some of my winnings. Last year, I was starting to figure it out, realized I didn't have to, but I couldn't do it on my own. I went to my guy, shout out Stuart Greenbaum at H&R Block. Like, I'm going to Stuart. You know what I mean? Stuart's going to figure it out for me. Get a person, get an expert that's smarter than you, because it is pretty tricky and you don't want to make mistakes or not get returns on certain things. Not, like Katie was mentioning, not be able to deduct certain losses if you have there. It's all important. So go get your money, get someone that knows more than you. That's my advice.
Yeah, make sure you get that W-2/G form too from your sportsbook so you know exactly how much you took in versus how much you lost. But don't miss it, people, because as sports gambling becomes more popular, the IRS, Uncle Sam, are going to be looking into this heavily. So make sure that you include it with your taxes. All right, we're going to take a quick break here before we head into Capper's Corner. Spoiler alert, you're not going to win every bet that you place. But with Caesars Sportsbook, win or lose, every bet gives you reward credits and tier credits, which you can exchange for the best perks in the game. Hotel stays, VIP experiences, sports and concert tickets, and more. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app and start earning with Caesars Rewards. Looking to reduce the fees for your restaurant deliveries? Dash Pass by DoorDash is the easiest way to unlock savings on your latest cravings on every eligible order. Dash Pass is a membership from DoorDash that offers unlimited $0 delivery fees from thousands of eligible restaurants, grocery stores, and convenience stores. Once you join, you'll save on each eligible order and receive DoorDash credits back on all pickup orders. That means more money back in your wallet. Get what you want when you need it without any upfront commitments. You'll have the ability to cancel your membership at any time with no hidden or additional fees. You'll also enjoy the best of your neighborhood as you discover the new and best places near you. Get 50% off up to $20 value on your next Dash Pass order when you sign up for membership and redeem Moxie at checkout. That's 50% off your first Dash Pass order up to $20 $5 value with Moxie. Say goodbye to delivery fees. Get Dash Pass from DoorDash today using Moxie. When you've got zero delivery fees, you're free to get more because you can. Start your free month trial today. Welcome back on Moxie Bets, and it's time now for Capper's Corner, which of course we're going to bring back in our guy, Mr. Monday, Danny Brasco. Danny, there are 6 games on the NBA slate tonight. We're going to go through all of them and give our best bets. First up, we're looking at Atlanta Hawks versus the Miami Heat. Moneyline, Hawks are favored plus 130. Spread is 3. Oh, excuse me. Hawks are not favored. They're the underdogs, plus 130. Heat minus 155. Spread is 3. Over under 229. What are you thinking for this game?
So last Monday, I was on the show and I gave out Jimmy Butler over rebounds. And he hadn't been attacking the glass very much. And his number was set super low. I thought maybe get some heart in him, plays like a dog like Jimmy tends to do, and attacks the glass.
Yeah.
Turns out he had 11 boards in that game. He went over in the first half. So I like the way that he's been playing, kind of trying to put the team on his back, whether it's with scoring, dishing, or attacking the glass and doing the dirty work. I'm feeling like he does more of the same tonight against a Hawks team that I feel like a lot of times I watch them, they just tend to get outworked. Like you can just out physical them. And Jimmy Butler is that kind of guy. So on the run that they're on right now, Heat still needing to make that push. I feel like he just gets that dog in him tonight and goes over 34.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Whatever stat he's going to do, I want to be on it. I like a good game from Jimmy tonight.
Yeah, I like Jimmy Buckets a lot in this one. And look, I like the Heat minus 3. I am taking a game side bet here. Look, Atlanta's just been disappointing all season long. Okay, they fired their head coach midway through the season. There are reports that Trae Young is a problem child and that his teammates don't really even like him that much. And they're just at 500. And, they brought in Quinn Snyder here. They're 1-2 since he took over, including a loss to the Heat. The Hawks have been wildly inconsistent, especially on the road, 14, 18-1 against the spread away from home. And now Miami has struggled as well, right? Specifically with their offense, they've also struggled to get wins and they've struggled to cover, only 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games. But Danny, they looked good on Saturday versus the Hawks. Bam dropped 30. Hero and Butler both had 15 and over. So I'm going to ride with a hot hand and the team that's been more consistent in postseason pushes. In 35 seasons, they have made the playoff 23 times. Now, Miami is still in 7th place, which means the play-in is a reality for them. And Spoelstra's squad is 2-1 straight up against Atlanta all season long. So I'm going to ride the Heat with this one, minus 3.
Yeah, it's hard to not like that. I mean, the only thing that's sketching me out is the line itself. Like they just beat them on Saturday, right? And I like all the points you made. So the line is giving me the heebie-jeebies a little, but the Heat are also very good at home. And you mentioned Bam Adebayo in the last game against the Hawks. I mean, he had his way with them. 30 points. I think I'm going to take him to drop a double-double tonight at plus 145. I mean, if he just did it and attacked the glass against the Hawks, who are a little weaker there, like we said, can get out-physical, why can't Bam do it again for some plus money? So I like that play tonight if he has his way again.
Yeah, I love Bam Adebayo. By the way, just a great name, Bam Adebayo. I like. I'm fading Trae Young tonight, and I don't know if it's because I've been reading so many articles about him, but I'm just not hot on him at all. Under 23.5 points at minus 123. He was held to a season low of just 8 points on Saturday versus the Heat, and Miami just knows how to lock him up in general. He averages under this mark at 21.2 in regular season career games versus Miami, and in the playoffs, it's even less, 15.4. He was held to 12 in 3 of he was held to 12 and under in 3 of the 5 playoff games. So I just feel like Trae's going through a lot right now. He's not liked by his teammates. It's a lot of public scrutiny. He's got a lot he's got to figure out, and Miami just seems to have figured him out on more occasions than not. All right, moving on. We are going Denver Nuggets versus the Raptors here. Nuggets minus 235 on the money line, spread 6.5, over under 229 and a half. God, I can't talk. Hello, Monday. Danny, what do you think?
Yeah, this one's a little tricky. I like player props in this more than the spread because the line is moving a bit. It's hard not to lean Nuggets minus 6 here at home. But I saw initially some money came in on the Raptors. It was at 7 at first. So I'm watching that. But, the Nuggets roll at home. They're the number 1 seed in the West Conference for a reason. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like the Raptors are a bad matchup stylistically for them. Also, this guy, Nikola Jokic, is just unstoppable. Ugh. It doesn't matter. And I love how they've responded to the Grizzlies beating them. They had to go on the road in Memphis, lost, and then since then they've covered in every game since. So how do you go against the Nuggets at home here? Just looking to keep that roll going. The only sketchy thing I feel like is that their schedule gets a little soft now. They get the Pistons and the Raptors a couple times in the next like 5 or so games. There are going to be some letdown spots in there, but this is a good one at home, I feel like, for the Nugs.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm taking Denver or laying the points with Denver as well. Like you said, best team in the West. 49-19 on the season, 7-1 in their last 8 games. They're on a 3-game win streak right now, and they've won by at least 10 points in each of those games. So we're already covering the spread there. They also rank first in field goal percentage at 50.9% and in 3-point shooting at 38.9%, which has been a real problem for the Raptors. Toronto is a solid defense. They allow only 112 points per game, 7th overall, but they've been getting worked from deep recently, and their offense has been sputtering. Last 5 games, they've only averaged 103.2 points per game. And look, the Nuggets have been awesome on extra rest. They have a plus 14 net rating on 2 days of rest. So agreeing with you on this one, give me the Nuggets minus the 6. What about a prop bet?
Love that stat there. Rest in the NBA is huge. This is a really good angle. And, you brought up the 3-point struggles for the Raptors. Well, I love that. That plays perfectly into the player prop that I like. And that's Jamal Murray over 2.5 threes. A little bit juiced at minus 150, but honestly, I feel like it's a winner, so I don't mind at all. This guy's been chucking them recently. 10 plus attempts in a ton of games as of late. 13, 11 attempts. And the last 2, he's shooting 50%. So if he's shooting that many and he's hitting at that kind of clip, we can get three 3-pointers from Jamal Murray to get this one done. Of course, Jokic has been doing everything, so it's nice to have a healthy 3-point hitting Jamal Murray. I'll be looking for him to do some of that tonight and cash this one.
I love that, and I'm just gonna go with what always seems to happen, which is the Joker to get a triple double. It's a minus 111. He added one more on Friday. He's got 25 this season alone, and the Nuggets are 25-0 when that happens. Of course, we already know that I like the Nuggets to win and cover here. He's on 2 days rest, so give me the Joker to get another triple double at minus 111.
Katie,
All right,
can
now
you
let's take a
believe
look at the
that? Just before you go
yeah.
on, I just wanted to say, can you believe that a center to get a triple double is minus money?
But he yeah, Danny, it's not even I feel like now it's not even will he get a triple double, it's like, will he get a triple double in the first half? Like, that is really that's the question, and I'd like to see some odds on that because I would definitely take, the yes on that one. I mean, he's just ridiculous, 3rd time MVP. I don't even think it's a question at this point if he's gonna get the MVP again.
Insane.
Insane. I love it. And I love, Jokic, obviously, but the nickname, the Joker, it's just such a good one. But all right, let's take a look at the Pelicans, who are on who are 6.5 games behind the Sacramento Kings, currently sitting in 3rd place in the Western Conference. Those Kangs. Kangs are minus 210 on the money line. Spread is 5, total 237. How are you leaning here?
I'm leaning towards the under in this one, if you can believe it. The Kings are actually the number 1 scoring offense in the NBA, so you're going to have to hold your breath on this one.
Wild.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's a scary one, but I play the number always, right? I mean, it started at 239 down to 237. There's a reason it's that high. Like we said, Kings run it up, but against the Pelicans here, they've actually failed to score 100 points in 2 of their last 3 games. Offense is sputtering a little bit, and the pace should be
Yeah.
high, but simply put, you look at some of the totals that that the Pelicans have played in recently. They're set in the 230s here, and they're missing by a large, like a 20-point margin. So just feels like these numbers are a little bit too high the way the Pelicans offense is playing.
Yeah.
And I like the Kings to probably pick up this win and this game to stay under.
All right, Danny, I love that. I'm taking the Kings in the 3rd quarter, minus 1.5. Is at minus 110. The Kings were on a 5-game win streak. They just lost to Minnesota, the Timberwolves, on Saturday. And, when I was looking at these advanced statistics from NBA, and shout out to Action Network, our friends over there who pointed this out as well, the Pelicans rank 8th in adjusted defensive rating, but that drops to the 5th worst in the 3rd quarter, 118.4. Gets even more bad on the road with 120. And the Kings actually score the 4th most points in the 3rd quarter at 30.1. So for me, this looks like an interesting one to play here. Kings 3rd quarter minus the 1.5.
What an interesting look, and what a drop
Yeah.
off in defense for the Pelicans in the 3rd quarter. So
Yeah.
often you hear as like a classic proverb in the NBA, like games are won and lost in the 3rd quarter, right? You come out of that half. What's your
Yeah.
momentum to the second half of the game going to be like? Like I know that because my Knicks just sputter in the 3rd quarter all the time and give away games. So wow, Pelican, I think that's a good mark of like youth and inexperience there.
Yeah.
Interesting look. I love a 3rd quarter bet there. I like that. I'm tailing that.
And you know what's so interesting about it is that last year, the Warriors were the third quarter team. It's like you always took the Warriors in the third quarter because that's when they came out. And then, of course, they lost someone on their coaching staff to the Kings. And now all of a sudden, the Kings are scoring the most points in the third quarter. Coincidence? I think not. But what else are you looking at for this game?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Domantas Sabonis over 12 and a half rebounds in this one. I like him to work the glass here. He's averaging this number on the season, so I think he can go over. He had 14 in his last one. And simply put, they've just been putting a lot of pressure on De'Aaron Fox, right? He's got to lead the charge every night. I want to see Domantas take over in this one. I think you have a big double-double game. Double-double's like minus 500 on Caesars, so pretty crazy. I mean, you can't really play that. I'll take the over rebounds instead.
Yeah, he's had a double-double in 9 straight games. I was looking at that as well. I was like, "Oh, easy," and then, turns out not so easy, and definitely not taking that. But I love this, and I might tail that one with you. I'm looking at Ingram over 1.5 made threes. It's juiced to -125, and look, he's been on absolute fire. 40 points on Wednesday. He racked up 20 points in the first half alone and 14 in the first quarter. It's just absolutely wild, but he has struggled from behind the arc, 1 of 5 on Wednesday and 4 of 18 in his last 3 games from deep, which is why I think this line is so low at 1.5. If you look at New Orleans, they rank first in team opponents' 3-point percentage at 33.8%. They have the most opponent 3-pointers per game played by a team with 8.47. So I think it's a good bounce back spot for Ingram to get at least 2 threes tonight.
I love your stats today. Sharp.
Thank you. I was handicapping early this morning. Okay, so the Eastern Conference second place Celtics are looking to close the 1.5 point game gap behind the Bucks with a win over the Cavs tonight. Cavs are favored -235 money line. Spread 6, 218.5 is the total. Interesting because this line opened up with the Cavs minus like 1.5 or 2.5, and now this is ballooned all the way up to 6. What are you thinking with this one?
Yeah, so I'm going to take the under 218 and a half in this one. I'm seeing some sharp action move that line too. Looks like people, the bettors that are moving the line, are moving it towards the under, mostly because, I mean, the Celtics are coming off an overtime game against the
Yeah,
Knicks last night, right? And
yeah.
immediately go against Cleveland, go travel to Cleveland to face another good defense. Got to feel like, man, those guys played a lot of minutes and hard minutes in a war last night. What's left in the tank. So I like playing unders in spots like that, especially going into Cleveland on the road against a good defense. Celtics are a road under team as well, have played a lot to the under when traveling. So yeah, give me the under 218.5 in this one. Look for some defense.
All right, Danny, I hear everything that you're saying, especially with the double overtime last night. Now they're going on the road to play the Cavs, but I'm still liking this over 218.5, mostly because that's just been the trend between these two teams. The over is cashed in the last 3 meetups. A whopping 16, 14, and 1 in the past 21 games when playing on no rest for the Celtics. It's also 5 and 2, and the Cavs past 7 games overall and 5 and 0 in the past 5 games when playing a team with a winning record. That's for the Cavs. So I'm going to lean against you and the other sharps in this one and go over. I'm also liking the points with Boston tonight. It's really interesting to me that it opened up at 2.5 or 1.5 in some spots, and this is already ballooned all the way up to 6. And I think a lot of that has to do with this double overtime. They got to get on the road. It makes sense, but with Mitchell as a game time decision with that left hand finger sprain, even if he does play, I feel like he's going to be limited or not as good. And Boston just won the last matchup. So I do think that the Cavs may win this game, but I do like Boston to keep it within 6.
Interesting. Man, we're split here. This is a lean. I
Ah,
don't know if I'll actually end up betting this, but I'm leaning towards the
yeah,
Cavs -6. Here's the thing about the NBA. You got to catch the best lines. If you like the Cavs and they were at 1.5, 2.5, right now at 6, it's like, dang, I kind of missed the party on that one. And if you like the Celtics and you jumped on it early, you should have waited, right? You
yeah,
won all those points now. So
yeah,
now is the time to grab them.
yeah.
I just think that you might be taking the shiny candy here. It's the Boston Celtics +6 off a loss. Like, kind of feels like, man, they got to go get one back. It might be bait. And I feel like that line is screaming like, oh man, of course I want the Celtics, one of the best teams in the NBA, with 6 points. I feel like they might let down after a double overtime war last night. So I lean Cavs, but not a game I might actually bet. I will be watching now though that we're torn on it.
Yeah, and now we're head to head on this. Yeah, no, I definitely think it's a letdown spot for them. I think they lose this game, but I
But they
just,
cover the
especially with
6.
Mitchell. Yeah, with Mitchell in this hand. So I don't know. We'll have to see with that one. Another kind of trappish game is this Blazers versus the Pistons.
Yeah.
Both teams look like they're just tanking for Tank it for draft picks or whatever it is. Right now, Blazers minus 225 on the money line. Spread is 6, 229.5 is that total. What are you feeling here?
So I'm going to play the under again, believe it or not. Again, I just feel like it's too high. And oftentimes people are going to be like, oh, okay, of course, the under once again. But these numbers are astronomical in the NBA. And again, seeing reverse movement too. I see bets going towards the over and the line moving towards the under. A lot of the time, I'm just playing that market action, right? Take away everyone on the court and look at what the market is telling you. So I also feel like there's a chance that this one becomes either a blowout either way. I
Mm,
don't trust either of these teams. And if the margin is
no.
large, then, bench players come in, team takes their foot off the gas, and 229, it's a big number. I don't think they're getting to it. So I'll play the under.
I like that, and, I'm taking the Pistons +6, which is gross, which is really
Ugh.
gross, and you gotta plug your nose on this one because the Pistons are horrible. Danny, they only have 15 wins this entire season, just 15. They're on a 7-game losing streak. The Blazers are not doing too much better. They've dropped 5 of their last 6. They're just 3 and 13 against the spread in their last 16 road games, 1 and 5 against the spread in their last 6 games overall. Pistons, I bet against them the other night versus Chicago, and they lost like they always do, but they ended up covering. They're actually 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 games against a team with a losing record, which we do know that the Blazers do have a losing record. They're also 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 at home against teams with a losing road record. And look, the Blazers are at a little disadvantage here, given that they're playing the second game of a back-to-back. So I think that the Blazers win this game. It'll bounce back for them, but I'm gonna plug my nose and take, the Pistons plus the 6 here. What else are you thinking?
Brave, brave pick. But I mean, sometimes
Yeah,
you got to do that, right? It's like, it feels like the
yeah.
Pistons are always that team that, like, a better team plays down to their level against. And all of a sudden, the minus 12 and a half favorite is, in a one possession game with these lowly Pistons, and they end up covering more than their record may reflect, right? And the 15 wins that you mentioned. But I'm going to
Yeah.
take a brave pick in kind since you've stepped up to the
Mm,
plate and done so.
thank you.
I'm going to go under points for Damian Lillard, who has been
Ooh,
absolutely lighting it up recently, dropping
yeah.
71, coming off 41. Katie, the line's at 36 and a half at minus
Mm,
135 on the over. Like, at that point, that's like buying a stock at its highest price, right? Like, I
yeah.
don't buy Apple right when after they release the newest iPhone, right? You got to wait for some bad news and get better value. Lillard is it's a ridiculous price tag. So, like I said, if there's a blowout one way, maybe he comes out, they're off a back to back. Maybe he looks to facilitate a little more, maybe 36 and a half. I'll
Yeah.
try the under and hope that he doesn't just light it up in my face.
Yeah, that is a risky one, but I respect it. Now, I hope that he doesn't facilitate that much because I'm taking him under 7.5 assists tonight. Now, he has cleared over this number, I know, in 25 of 50 games this season, but he's actually stayed under his assist prop in 9 of his last 10 games. So, hopefully we can both cash tonight, but it seems like it's gonna be one or the other
Right? I mean, yeah, right.
on
He's been too
this
busy
one.
dropping 70 to dish it up enough, but yeah, right. It might be
True.
one or the other. We'll see.
It dep Yeah, it depends on the game script and what he does. Bet with, caution, people. Okay, so now let's look at the Sixers, versus the Pacers. Sixers favored minus 6.5. This over under slightly higher, 233.5. Where are you placing your money here?
So I'm gonna pick a spread in this one. I like the Pacers plus 6.5. It just looks like a really good
Yeah.
spot. Once again, reverse movement. A lot of bets are coming in on the Sixers early. Pacers were +8. All of a sudden, they're plus 6.5, with more of the bets going towards the Sixers. That's reverse line movement. We love to see that. It means the sharp action, the money that matters, is moving the line in favor of the Pacers. And I like this 6.5
Mhm.
number too. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton's been playing absolutely fantastic. The 76ers, I talked to all of my Philly friends who are diehards there. They're coming off a big win, and this is a classic
Yes.
Philly letdown spot. They love to break your heart right after you think they're on top of the world and going to be those, Eastern Conference contenders. And then the Pacers, come in and beat them outright, if not cover this 6.5 number. So I just think it's a good spot for them.
I agree with everything that you said, and I will just point out that head to head, the Sixers are just 1 and 5 against the spread versus the Pacers in the last 6 meetings. Pacers also 14 and 8 against the spread as a home underdog this season. So definitely riding with you on that one. Are you looking at any prop bets?
Yeah, let's go to my guy Tyrese Halliburton, right? I mean, absolutely fantastic play at point guard, and he's averaging like 11 assists a game on the season, somewhere around that number. So I'm going to take him over 9.5 assists at plus 110. I'm getting plus money on it, and he has been more of a scorer a bit lately. Some games he's looking to really be that bucket getter for his team and keep up the pace scoring wise, but. He's at his best when he's facilitating against the Sixers defense, who typically year in, year out is going to bring a solid defense. You're going to need to facilitate, move the ball around. I like Tyrese Halliburton to be able to create opportunities for his team tonight. Getting plus money on a guy who does it best. Give me the over 9.5 assists.
All right, I love that. I'm looking at Harden over 6.5 rebounds tonight. It's at minus 106. So Harden has been on a tear. He looks like vintage Harden. He finished the game against the Bucks with 38 points, 10 assists, and 9 rebounds. Now his assist props have been cashing. They've been really high, but they've been cashing. He's been a great facilitator. But in the last 5 games, Harden has averaged 6.4 rebounds, so just at this mark, and has hit the over in 80% of those games. And Indiana ranks 28th in opponent rebounds allowed this season at 53.9 per game. In the last 2 games this year, Harden has had 6 and then 9 boards against the Pacers. So at minus 106 too, I do like him to hit over this on the rebound 6.5.
Vintage Harden. Let's see if he can come to almost a triple-double on that night, right? With 9 boards. So grab some boards,
Almost
James. Let's go.
triple double. All right, Danny, I know that you've been betting a lot of college hoops. This is March. We got March Madness around the corner. You've got some conference tournaments happening right now. What are 2 games or bets that you like tonight from the CBB slate?
Yeah, so the action tonight is the West Coast Conference tournaments there, semifinal play. And I'm going to look at BYU taking on St. Mary's will be the first one. I like the under in that game, under 130.5. St. Mary's fantastic defense. They're favored to win the game. A lot of people are going to be on BYU with the points. They're a very public underdog. But on a neutral court here, I believe, I like unders. And St. Mary's defense just been suffocating. So give me the under in that one. Slow-paced game. Should not see too much crazy offense. And in the later game, 11 p.m. Eastern start. So if you can stay up, you'll be watching the Gonzaga Bulldogs.
I cannot.
Yeah, Katie, me and you don't watch Gonzaga games for that reason. I'm going to go to sleep by that time.
Absolutely.
But I do like the under in that game as well. Gonzaga, top scoring offense in the nation. So the under is set at 161.5. And again, astronomically high number. Yes, it could easily run over the total. But again, I like to play these ridiculous numbers in a Western Conference, semifinal game here where, I think 2 teams are going to have to bear down a little bit and make this game matter. So with some effort on the defensive side, I say this game stays under a really high number of 161.5.
King of the under, hitting another under.
So many.
Again, you love to see it. All right, let's take a look at Caesar's quick picks. If you feel like doing a little sprinkle on something with higher plus money here. Okay, you got Ice Tray versus Jimmy Buckets. It's at plus 575. You've got Mr. Triple Double at plus 700. And then you've got Sacktown Sabonis plus 490. And the leader of the Pels at plus 456. Of those quick picks on Caesar Sportsbook, what are you thinking, Danny?
Oh, this is easy. I mean, we got to go Mr. Triple Double, plus 700. It's the best odds on the board. Katie likes Jokic Triple Double at minus 110. So basically here we're betting that he can have a 24, 11, and 13 Triple Double, which ain't that far off what he does on a nightly basis. Really, it's the 24 points that might screw us, right? If he's doing everything else, maybe lands on 18 or 20. But if we're taking any of the plus 700, we think he's going to get a triple-double as is. So add some points to it, and we're there.
Lock it up. Plus 700. I am on that as well. All right, time now for Mox Locks. Of everything that you've given us today or that you haven't, what's your first lock of the day?
So I'm actually going to make them both NBA plays, and the first one will be the Pacers plus 6.5. I know, right? I can't ignore that reverse line movement, and I can't ignore the Philly Sixers, letdown spot. So those feel like good angles. I'll take the Pacers with the points.
All right, I love that. I'm taking Harden over 6.5 rebounds. I feel like everyone has been looking at his assists. He's been killing it, facilitating the ball. But with the Pacers being so bad against rebounds, I'm taking him over the 6.5. What's your next lock?
I got to go with that Jamal Murray over 2.5 threes. He's chucking them left and right. If he's shooting 10 plus a game and the Raptors struggle defending the 3, what else is there to it? Give me Jamal Murray over 2.5 threes.
And my last lock, I'm doing the Kings third quarter minus the 1.5. They scored the most points in the third quarter, and the Pelicans defensive rating plummets in the third quarter. So we're going to lock that one in. All right, Danny, thank you so much. This has been Moxie Bets presented by Caesar Sportsbook. Don't forget to follow us on social at Moxie Bets. We'll see you Wednesday.